Hello and welcome back, you guys. This is my third part of Dark Night of the Soul, and I'm going to do my very best to try to describe my experience. Again, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind, or I'm just simply sharing my experience and my perspective. If something that I say may help you on a physical level or resonate with you on a soul level, I do have quite a few people ask me, and since it's happened, it's just so extremely difficult to put into words. So I have been trying my best to put my experience into words, and it does no justice, but I am doing my best. So bear with me here. I don't have anything like written or planned out because it's not that I don't care, it's just that I kind of stop my flow of energy of what I need to say in the moment. And if I notice maybe I'm writing something down or reading off something, it prevents me from being able to speak from my heart in the moment. So I know there's going to be some things that I forget or leave out, but that's why I'm kind of doing a series of videos here. So anyway, thank you so much. So kind of where I left off, when I first started experiencing this, if you haven't seen the previous videos, then you can go back and watch the previous videos of kind of what happened. But I kind of left off that during my experience, my Kundalini or Christ consciousness or my energy catapulted all at once from traumatic experience, an extremely traumatic experience. And I didn't know how to deal with it. So I'm going to try to explain to you how I dealt with it and how I'm kind of still here today being able to explain this to you. So after this event, when I had a full-blown Kundalini experience, it literally put me out for hours, days at a time. I was kind of walking in between dimensions. My reality that I once knew was no longer my reality. Everything I kind of ever thought shattered in front of my eyes. And I was gone. I was, there was states where I thought, that I could potentially be delusional at first, but that's just like common psychosis that you could potentially go through. Now, this doesn't happen for everybody in this way, but that's why I just wanted to share my experience, because everybody's experience is so unique to their individual journey, which I talked about before. Okay, so I'm going to do my best here to try to describe to you what happened. I'm not an artist. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to do my best to show you. Okay. So, if this right here, let's say here I am. I drank some coffee today, so my drawing is probably going to be even worse. This is me, all right? This is me when I'm born. This is me, my true me from birth. After I was born, we're going to say for 34 years, I was over the time of 34 years, I started building up these barricades, which are my thoughts, beliefs, experiences, limited perception, limited thoughts, limited beliefs, or else we are going to call all these tremendous amount of barricades that continue to occur over your life the ego, right? This is your ego, and this is all your limited beliefs and thoughts for me, right? And these are the barricades that I created for myself through just how I was, what I thought, my processes, my experiences that I went through, behavior patterns that I accumulated over these years that I was unaware of, emotions and experiences and traumas and suffering that I didn't fully process. They all just keep spiraling out, and these are all just keeping me further from my truth. And then here I am, it's me. We're gonna call this my reality, my physical reality, and my egoic truth before my Kundalini fully activated all at once. I was to the point where now that I see that it would have been pretty much impossible for me to kind of unravel these layers one by one, and it would have been a very slow journey of uncertainty and lack of faith in many ways, and just very difficult for me to do. Because I didn't even realize I had these barriers up. I didn't realize that these barriers existed. I didn't even know what this was. All right, so after my Kundalini was fully activated, in that moment, that's me. I completely broke down or broke through. Every single one of these layers were just cut and released from my body, and they were no longer there. And this now that I see is detachment. This is being detached. And I've always had a concept of what being detached was. And I always thought I knew what being, detached meant. I had no clue. I had absolutely no clue whatsoever. I wasn't even close to knowing what it actually was. All these barriers and barricades are completely gone, and here I am, after my experience, completely detached from everything I've known, everything in this physical reality I was completely detached from. This is at the point where my soul was literally, I felt like trying to leave my body, and I was having outer body experiences. And in this state, I'm down because I was experiencing a dimension that I never knew existed. I was connected to everything. So my entire inner world that I saw was my soul truth. It was not my ego truth. It was not my egoic truth. It was my soul truth. This is my soul truth. So this is let's see if I can explain this. So I know I'm not the best artist, like I said, I'm sorry. Putting this into words is very difficult. All right, here I am, let's say. Here I am. And then let's just say when everything broke, when all these became unraveled all at once, when my Kundalini activated fully, we'll call this my internal bliss. This is kind of the dimension that I was in. This is my internal bliss. This was my normal physical reality. And this is what I was used to for my life in this dimension. We're going to call this right here the external suffering. So keep in mind, I have had a lot of, traumatic experiences and suffering throughout my life. And when these have occurred, I would be in this external suffering. And I would bounce from here back to the physical, and then here back to the external suffering. And that's where my consciousness would be. And after this experience and my Kundalini was fully activated, I was I broke free into this internal bliss where I was connected to everything energetically, where my heart center was completely activated. And now during this time of my Kundalini activation, I was staying in this internal bliss, and then going straight into this external suffering, back and forth, ping-ponged. This didn't exist for me. That's when you hear me say this physical reality didn't really exist for me anymore. This is how. So I was literally, it felt like when I'm talking internal bliss, if you can envision your body floating all the way up into the sky, covered in light, being connected to God and to cosmic consciousness, where there's absolutely just no suffering in any way, completely free of any type of limitations, like just pure bliss. And then somebody taking your soul, a force taking your soul and body slamming it down into this external suffering, shattering into a million pieces. And this was happening to me over and over and over. So I was either here in internal bliss, or I was here in the worst amount of external suffering that I feel like a human being could experience ever. And this was not here. I know I just said it again, but this was not real for me. This is when my inner world became more real than anything I've ever experienced in my physical world. This is where truth was. Everything I thought was true before was not. This was infinite. Again, this is super hard for me to put into words, but I'm trying to. So I would force myself now, as I picked myself up from this experience, I noticed, here I am, after I've been down, when I finally picked myself up to go into the regular world again, like I have to take care of my kids, I have to go to work, I have to, whatever I had to do, now I'm standing up. And as soon as I stood up back in this physical reality, I've noticed that almost immediately when I started going back to the physical reality that I just left, because I felt, forced, obligations, responsibilities, whatever. I saw all of a sudden, it took me some time, but I could see these layers my ego slowly coming back, my limited beliefs slowly being built back, slowly. Only this time, over the course of 6 months, it took 6 months that I realized I was now able to see. So I could see the barriers that I created for myself. And I feel like in my mind, I'm not sure, but I feel like this is what it's meant when you are reborn. So I feel like I was reborn because now I was able to see. I was able to clearly see the obstacles that I created for myself, and then I would quickly unravel these as fast as I put them on to try to keep myself in this internal bliss of being completely free from and detached. So then it was an even bigger struggle because I'm trying to maintain this balance. So here I am watching my ego quickly come back to life after it died. Quickly. Just gaining momentum. And I refer to this kind of as my demons. It was literally like an internal God and like an internal devil. It was literally internal battle of observation of light and dark at the same time, two forces that I was able to now observe in fight. So I would see it, I would truly observe it, and I would notice it being built up, and then I would take the time consciously of being self-aware to break this down, to get this away, right? And that's kind of where I am at now. I'm able to see, I'm able to observe, and I see what a beast the ego is. I see the battle, the internal battle of my ego and my soul, when my soul is ego, or when my soul is truly soul. And I'm able to recognize this, and sometimes it takes me longer, some things take me longer, sometimes it takes me hours, days, weeks to realize this is a previous pattern, or I can see right away now this is a previous behavior pattern that I am breaking, that I am choosing to break, so I can unravel these layers to be my true self. Now I'm trying, I know it's extremely hard to maintain this link, which is why I battled with so many emotions, because if I wasn't in this internal bliss of freedom in real truth of infinite ecstasy state, I was battling these darker forces within me, and it was not fun. It's an extremely difficult process. That's why I say I continuously work hard. It's not like you flip on a light switch or walk through a door and you're free and then you no longer see. It's like you continuously see these things being built, and then you continuously are working on breaking them down, because you know what happens when these are unraveled. What happens is, you know, with every single cell in your body, that there is now a path. In my whole entire life, I never knew there was a path. And I call this path faith. And because I experienced it, I know with every single cell in my body, 100%, what faith is and what actually exists beyond this physical reality. So I stand and walking and trying to balance these two realities now between the physical and the internal bliss. And I try really hard to keep myself from this external suffering where I'm not able to get up, or where my body becomes kind of more impulsive in a way, or my body controls me instead of my body seems to be able to control my soul, but my soul can control my body. All right, so now here's this path that I never knew existed. So I'm gonna call this is my path. This is my journey. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm on it. Now it's there. Now I see it. Now here I am. Now when I come off the path, I can come off, but I know it's there, so I find my way back. And this doesn't mean this external reality doesn't exist. It means that it does exist, and there's experiences that you grow from or evolve from. And when you fall off, when your ego's being built, you come back onto your path because you are forced to, there's nothing that will take you away from your path. Because after this happened, for me, I devoted my whole entire life to it. My whole entire life to it, because that's what it was. That for me, this is what life is. All right, so now I may come off and then come back on. And then something else will happen and come back on. And there's other times where I'm straight on my path and there's nothing that can stop me. I'm straight on my journey because I know where I'm going, right? And then something will happen, and it's just how fast I can get back on my path now until, and this for me is ascension, all right? This for me is ascension. This for me is faith. I see my path, right? I wish I was a better drawer. I wish I was an artist to be able to illustrate this a little bit better for you. But it's important for me to be able to talk about this, because I know that what can happen is a lot of times what happens is everything is shattered, right? This is true. This is not being attached to anything. So again, this is just my next part of this video that I want to put out to you guys. Again, I wanted to make these not very long because I know it gets hard. There's a lot of things that I am leaving out right now, but that's the gist of this part. Now, usually people, if you know people that had you hear people that had a near-death experience, or just such emotional, physical, and mental trauma that they've experienced this other reality, and this is what I believe it is most of the time, and I do believe that sometimes we're so far gone, unfortunately, it will take something just awful to break who you were, break down these habitual patterns and limited thoughts and beliefs. And I don't want, again, I don't want you to attach anything of your experience to my experience, because it's so different. But that's the best way that I can describe it. And I do feel like it can potentially be dangerous to somebody because of what it can do to your mind and your ego and your physical body and your states of consciousness. And that's why I believe I can see how I know how it can be dangerous. So the reason why I'm putting this video out is because my guides have kind of shared with me about a year ago to make videos, and I would be receiving information and I would just be writing it down, and then I would be losing it and I wouldn't be making the videos. And then sorry. Yeah, man. All right, and then I lost my track of my train of thought. So my guides would be, you know, asking me to share these messages, and I would be so scattered with all these thoughts. So now I'm just sharing them. And the reason why they told me to is because they kind of showed me that so many people would be going through a similar experience because of their external reality, where their perceptions and previous their thoughts are just breaking down. And whether it be, as they show me, you know, the chaos of the world, or interdimensional beings of light, interdimensional beings being known or present, you know, extraterrestrial coming down to Earth, and people never believing that this was a possibility, or big systems collapsing, like big systems that are collapsing, that, or whatever is happening in your external reality. I was shown that so many people's would be going through this kind of grieving process, grieving of your ego. It's not fun because it's ego death. And it's either slow or fast when you're on your path. When you're on your path of ascension, it's either a fast or a slow one. And I was shown that there's other ways to reach these states of consciousness without suffering. But you have to have the will to do that. And that is why I'm coming on here. My guide showed me that a lot of people would kind of be thrown into what seems like a dream state, like a delusional dream state, that they aren't really sure what's happening or what's going on in chaos, you know, a dream state. And this is my main reason for making this video. And I wanted to, if you are very set on your belief set, is absolutely fine, but to make everything an easier process, just starting to become maybe a little bit more open-minded might be able to help you. So opposed to saying, no, this does not exist, maybe you step back and say, it could potentially exist. So if you are met with something that you thought was a truth that is not, it won't be as detrimental to your state of mind. You can kind of ease into the process with more grace. I'm going to leave that here for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. And again, I will get into more detail in other videos. I hope that this could resonate in some way or give you a better illustration of my experience. And I want to thank you guys again. I love you so much. I hope to see you soon. Namaste.